of time since then. But what are the driving factors that are behind what's going on now? You see, we're financing war. Ooh, that's a moneymaker there.
Oh yeah.
Now, what do you mean we're financing war? Well, here's something that everybody missed. You see, what happened last September? The United Nations voted, the General Assembly of the United Nations voted to end extremism. Now, if anybody paid attention to this, all the Arab countries were all jumping up and down. All the leaders were excited, separating Islam from extremists, and you know, what we see with it, and this was all based on ISIS. Where did ISIS come out from? Huh? ISIS came on the scene after the 10 Days of Mandela, and we got the 10 Days of Mandela after Comet ISON, the greatest comet that never appeared in a civilization's lifetime, was obviously destroyed. It was, and the tell is, I was just looking at this online the other day. I was looking up something, and here's a laid out set of photographs that show ISON as it comes around the sun. Now I watched this in real time, and as soon as it came out from behind the sun, I said that cone is blowing the wrong way. It's supposed to be blowing 90 degrees away from the sun, no matter where it's located, and it's blowing at 45. What's going on here? You know, this thing is supposed to be pointing the direct opposite of the sun, no matter where it's traveling. And here, the thing's making a 45-degree turn. What's going on here? Why is the coma of the comet blowing to the left when it should be blowing straight out?
So you're saying they blew it up?
It disappeared, didn't it?
It did. No, you're right. It did. I remember it just vanished. I remember.
And what day was that? Oh, that was Hanukkah, the first day of Hanukkah. And what did we get instead of Comet ISON? The 10 Days of Mandela, the night of Malta, subject to the Pope, or in servitude of the Pope, and subject to the Vatican, the man who died twice, the first time on June 26th and the second time on December 5th. What, are you kidding me? And that whole thing lasts 10 days, which is tied into a lunar alignment of the Voortrekker Monument. Go look that one up, which is in South Africa. And he gets interned the day before the alignment, and the lunar alignment with the Voortrekker Monument also matches where Comet ISON would have been on December 16th. And when all the Mayan folks turned around and went back and said, oh, why didn't it happen on December 21st? They said, oh, because we forgot to carry the 0 year. It should have been December 16th. On the evening of December 16th, the Mayan feathered snake god should have made itself clear in the evening sky. It would have looked like a giant exclamation point standing right above Venus. But it was gone. And then we got, immediately thereafter, the revolution in Ukraine turned bloody. We got an Ebola outbreak in Africa, one that had world consequences.
Yeah, total psyop.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on. If it was a real situation where everybody was getting Ebola and it was as contagious as they say it was, would all be either in some type of confinement right now, hiding from it, or would be dead.
Yeah, but it was all a psyop. Now, keep that in mind. What else did we get, though? It didn't happen in the month of December. It happened on the 3rd of January, that all of a sudden this little-known group called ISIS reared its nasty head and became the enemy of the entire world, and since then has expanded throughout the Middle East and Africa.
Well, and let's talk about
hotspots.
You know, Peter, you know this better than most people. Let's talk about ISIS and who's funding them, who they really are, because every other article that you read in the conspiracy realms or even in a lot of the mainstream media now is talking about how ISIS is the biggest threat and they've got briefcase nukes and we've really got to watch out for them because they're going to go through the Mexican border and get us in our sleep.
Hey, but you know, I just wanted to shift gears because I know, Rex, you wanted to talk about Jade Helm, and I think that's probably definitely something that we need to cover here tonight. Just want to remind you folks that we will be taking a break at the bottom of the hour. So, Peter, what is your thoughts on ISIS? Do you think it is a major problem? Or is it just...
here's the thing about ISIS. There's a little known fact, and it's amazing. I wound up reporting on this September 10th. Trust me, September 10th, 2014. I was like, where's this ISIS thing coming from? Because when Hillary Clinton was still Secretary of State, she made a statement saying that the rebels in Syria would be well funded. And I'm like, really? I won't say the second word, but whatever. And those words have just stuck in my brain. So when this whole ice now, when you look at the podium on the at the 10 Days of Mandela, you see a phoenix rising from a pyramid. Interesting, a symbol of ISIS. And then within the month we get ISIS, or within a month we get ISIS. Come on. Now, where did the funding come? These guys came out of Syria, but where did the funding come from? So I started doing a search on ISIS. I came across a very interesting website called the Integrated Systems. The acronym is ISIS. They have said that they are a guns for hire mercenary company made up of special forces and retired CIA agents. They have a office. They have offices all around the world, but they have an office at 1700 Pennsylvania Avenue in the Ronald Reagan building, literally across from the White House. I started talking about this and posting it. Go ahead.
Peter, I know, and I'm so glad you brought this up again, because I remember you told us that before, and for many of you that haven't had an opportunity to listen to the last time we talked to Peter, you brought that up. So do you think that it's one and the same? Do you think that these turkeys that are out there, you know, beheading people supposedly and doing all of these terrorist acts are really the ISIS, the same ones that you discovered?
I don't know, but they changed their name and logo.
You know who else had
seriously, ISIS, the ISIS organization located in Washington D.C. at 1700 Pennsylvania Avenue in the Ronald Reagan building, changed their name and their logo somewhere between the time I started reporting on them in September and when I checked about a month ago.
I was also going to add that Verizon.
And I'm still alive.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm still alive. This is a murder for hire company. Coincidence? I bring this to light, and they changed their logo, and I'm still breathing. Good. I love it.
No, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I was just going to bring up Verizon Wireless also had a pay system that they also named ISIS, and they changed it too.
But could it also just be this, the fact that ISIS is an Egyptian deity that's been around for thousands of years, so many entities or people or organizations already know the name ISIS, and they might just choose to pick ISIS because of certain correlations. You know, there's many businesses out there today, for example, one in particular, Starbucks, that has the Egyptian deity Osiris on there, if I'm not mistaken, and the sigil that they use on their signs is the Egyptian deity as well. Some people feel that in the occult realms, that helps manifest their desires if it harmonizes with their synchronicity, their vibrational frequencies. What do you think about that, Peter?
I chose my God. My God's Yahweh. Yahweh is the zero dimension which controls every other dimension within the multiverse. It's not some alien or interdimensional God wannabe. So they chose their gods. Let's go back to the Exodus of Egypt. This was a battle between Yahweh and the gods of Egypt. I'm glad you brought that up. See, when you go back to the 10 Days of Mandela, remember all the presidents were there, all these world dignitaries, over 90 of them, and they're standing next to this crazy guy who's signing in a language that nobody knows, that nobody can understand. What I'm talking about when I say nobody, everyone who understands sign language, whether it be American or from some other country, no one of the experts, including my mother, could understand what in the world he was saying. My mother is a certified American Sign Language translator. She has been all my life. So I think she might know. What's this guy talking about? I have no clue. Occasionally you see a sign that's familiar, but and then after nobody knows who in the world he is, although he stood next to all of these world dignitaries. They get him out of there and they interview him. And he says, "Oh, while I was doing this, I saw all of these angels flying around the stadium." Really? So you were invoking this was a satanic ritual that went on for 10 days, and they were invoking the gods. Yes, that's exactly what they were doing. I did a whole video on this with Alfred Weber in both when it was going on and then about I think in March of 2014 there's the follow-up video to it. But yeah, we talked about this quite extensively. But here we are. That was the setup for the blood moons. And the tetrad blood moons, I said our world's going to be a very different place by the time the tetrad blood moons are over, and they're over in September. Now, we've got all of a sudden this thing, and I want to point out something. Nothing happened with Elenin except that in alignment with Helenin, HARP and tsunami bombs were used in order to create the Fukushima situation, which we have now, which has been poisoning the earth for the past.
Do you think they also had something underground, Peter, when that happened? Some type of maybe low-yield nuclear weapon or something?
Yeah, there was offshore. That's what created the tsunami. It was, no, how can you say that? Because 4 days after the tsunami, they were getting readings of radioactive sulfur in the air. And the only way to get readings of radioactive sulfur in the air is through a nuclear reaction hitting salt water. And everybody was saying, oh, well, the salt water breached the reactors. No, it hadn't breached the reactors yet. It hadn't reached the reactors yet. This was only 4 days after. And during the event, Japanese scientists monitored a high-level energy anomaly in the ionosphere. And when I checked it a little over a year ago, I still found that paper online. That information is still online about the Japanese scientists.
We got a break here in like 1 second, so I want to bring this back up when we come back.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to bring that up. We're going to take a short break here, folks. It's a 5-minute news break. Just want to remind
time since then. But what are the driving factors that are behind what's going on now? You see, we're financing war. Ooh, there's a moneymaker there.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what do you mean we're financing war? Well, here's something that everybody missed. You see, what happened last September? The United Nations voted, the General Assembly of the United Nations voted to end extremism. Now, if anybody paid attention to this, all the Arab countries were all jumping up and down. All the leaders were excited, separating Islam from extremists, and you know, you see and this was all based on ISIS. Where did ISIS come out from? ISIS came on the scene after the 10 Days of Mandela, and we got the 10 Days of Mandela after Comet ISON, the greatest comet that never appeared in a civilization's lifetime, was obviously destroyed. It was, and the tell is, I was just looking at this online the other day. I was looking up something, and here's a laid out set of photographs that show ISON as it comes around the sun. Now, I watched this in real time, and as soon as it came out from behind the sun, I said, that comb is blowing the wrong way. It's supposed to be blowing 90 degrees away from the sun, no matter where it's located, and it's blowing at 45. What's going on here? You know, this thing is supposed to be pointing the direct opposite of the sun, no matter where it's traveling. And here, the thing's making a 45-degree turn. What's going on here? Why is the